What is up, everybody? Today we're taking a look at a 2016 BMW 428i GranCoupe. And now I'm going to give you a warning right off the bat. This episode is sort of going into uncharted territory in that we may actually be giving some consumer advice. Now, I know we've never tried this before, but I think if we sort of stick together, we'll be able to make it through all right. So today, obviously, this BMW. First impressions of the car. Personally, I've always liked BMW interiors over Audi interiors. Mercedes, not so much, because Mercedes, well, especially in recent years, like these past 2-3 years with all their redesigns, Mercedes has really upped the ante on the interiors with, catching these little places like the upper dash. This is one of the few places on the BMW that I'm not a big fan of what they've done here. And, tiny little details like that, Mercedes has been winning recently. But so yeah, I'd put BMW sort of in the middle of the interior range, but always I put BMW right at the top of the driving dynamics range. I mean, I have this car in Eco Pro right now most of the time, and I have had it for most of my driving experience with it, just to be nice to the guy who loaned it to me. And even in Eco Pro, the acceleration is perfect. You don't get any complaints. You never feel like you're down on power because you're in the eco mode. You never feel like you're down on the driving experience just because you're trying to, conserve your fuel and all that other stuff that you might actually be doing if you own this car. Let's see and other initial impressions. The stop-start does take some getting used to. Like, if you own an older car that does not have that feature, it will trip you out for a minute when you just hear the silence of the motor. But it is sort of a really good thing because it does help you save your fuel consumption. And obviously, if you actually are owning this car and driving this car on a daily basis, you're really, really going to like that. The other sort of creature comforts I'll go over kind of quickly. Air conditioning is a little confusing to get used to. Like, the setup's all right here, and most of it makes sense, but I know I had a hell of a time trying to get it just so, but again, that's just nitpicking. iDrive. See, I don't really understand why everybody gives iDrive such a hard time for being impossible to use. I genuinely I don't get it. Like, I have no problems using it. I guess I'll go over some of the facts and figures on the car for you. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 240 horsepower, and honestly, that doesn't seem like a lot, but with the 8-speed gearbox in this car, it actually gets up and goes. I'd even wager to say it's faster than my Mustang, even though the Mustang has 25-30 horsepower on it. I'd wager in a drag race, this car would have the advantage. I mean, in Sport Plus, this car handles, it stops. It genuinely is pretty much everything you would want from a sporty daily driver. No, but then obviously the big question is, if it's that good, why aren't more people buying it? And honestly, I'm not quite sure why you're not seeing more of these on the road, because personally, like, I've always sort of been in the BMW camp, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I don't know. There's something about these BMWs, the driving dynamics, the interior quality, that I've just sort of always preferred to, Mercedes and the Audis. Like, I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's just that BMW, they just make their cars feel so much more planted, and you know what they are. I think that's really the big thing for me now that I'm talking this out with you guys. Like, when you drive some of the modern Mercedes, you're not quite sure what they want to do. Like with the CLS, like, it's supposed to be like this sport coupe 4-door thing like this is, but it's way too comfortable and the suspension is way too soft. So it's sort of stuck in this weird zone where you're not really sure what the hell it's supposed to do. And I guess you'd call it's more of a GT car than anything else, but this car, it feels more like a sports car. That's probably the best way to put it. It's a sports car that's comfortable enough to be used on a daily basis. This car performs really well for a car for something under 50 grand with only 240 horsepower and allegedly can do over 30 miles to the gallon. Now, if I check the vehicle settings in here in the iDrive, it's telling me that since I've had the car for the past half an hour or so, it's only been averaging 13 mpg. But I think that's more a function of my having a very heavy foot than this car actually getting terrible gas mileage. But overall, the real question is, for 50 grand-ish, you know, obviously there's a lot of variance if you want to get more options, or if you want to bump up to the 435, you're looking closer to 60, if not more. But the real question is, do you buy this car over the competition? And then that also begs the question, what is the real competition for this car? And that's sort of a weird segment because none of the other brands right now have this sort of four-door coupe thing at this price level. The closest you can get, really, in my mind right now, is the probably the A7, and that's, you know, a good 10 grand premium just for base model over a decently equipped 428. So really, the competition for this car is going to be your A4. You're looking at the C-Class. You're looking at the new XE Jag. You're looking at some of the Infinities. I don't know which one is in this segment at this point, but just rattling off that list now, I know I can give you a pretty damn certain statement that I'd take the BMW over anything else in this segment, just because for the money you're getting a lot more driving dynamics, for one, which is important to me, and two, it's actually a really nice place to be. Like I said, there's a few little things I don't like. Like, I don't like this dash pad up here. It just doesn't quite seem up to par with the rest of the interior. I know I was bitching about the air conditioning controls, but I mean, that's something that if you actually bothered to look at the manual, or, you know, pay attention when your dealer gives it to you, you'd know that how it works. And it's little stupid things that I'm nitpicking because I just jumped in the car and drove off. But like, otherwise, I can't really find that many things that I don't like about it. And obviously, we're not going to be doing a downside because this is just what we're doing here is more of just sort of consumer advice, and I'm trying to get it all out now. But the two, I'd say, so the sort of a few little touches here and there, like the air conditioning controls, this dash pad thing, whatever you want to call that, and the rear visibility. Now, it's good with the mirrors and the rear view camera, but actually just checking your mirror here to look behind you, I mean, you can see the car behind you, but you can't see much else. Like, if you're looking back there to park, be glad you have a backup camera because you're not going to be able to see any sort of low things. So, like, if you're backing up against, like, a planter or something, I don't know why you would be, but there's all kinds of weird stuff that in different parking lots. And if you're backing in, you could easily miss something like that and just screw up your rear bumper because you can't see it. Other than that, I can't really think of anything that I would say against this car. Maybe the styling, maybe. Personally, I kind of like the way this car looks. I know it's a bit odd, but I do like it. But other than that, there's not much else to criticize with this car. Like I said, 50 grand, I don't think you can do much better than this car. Now, this, obviously, I'd like to hear your opinions on this. Which one would you have? Why would you have it? Personally, you know, as I said before, and I'm going to say again, it's driving dynamics for me that decide whether I'm interested in the car, and then the interior quality that says whether I'm going to own the car. And in this segment, I would say there's not too much else that can match it for driving dynamics, and it also just has that interior quality that I need. I hope you enjoyed this actual consumer advice. It's not something I plan to do terribly often because obviously I'm not very good at it. I do want to know, what car would you have in this sort of $40,000, $50,000 segment as your daily car? And I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.